Glad you can join me. Today, Greek cheerfulness. Eco-anxiety is the feeling of fear, powerlessness, guilt people get when they see forests burn and ice caps melt. According to the latest research, 3/4 of young people say the future is frightening. Yet, this dark feeling actually says something positive, I think, about those who experience it because they care. Greta Thunberg's eco-anxiety turned her into an activist who changed the world. Ideas are part of the remedy for that sense of anxiety. So come with me on a little journey of exploration. Join me on my 10-minute vlog for the eco-anxious. But I thought this was about Homer, I hear you ask. And so it is. Not Homer Simpson, the Homer of Odysseus, of his beloved wife Penelope, their coming-of-age son Telemachus, of the superhero Achilles, and his gay friend Patroclus, doomed to die, of Andromache and her adoring warrior husband Hector, Ithaca and Troy, and the seas in between. That's right, the oldest book in Western culture. But why, in heaven's name? Well, for starters, because Homer's two great poems are each a fabulous story. One is the first script ever written for a road movie that inspired all the others. IMDb has no less than 200 movie titles with the word Odyssey in it, including Stanley Kubrick's classic sci-fi film 2001: A Space Odyssey. The other is simply the greatest war story ever told. What's not to cheer you up with a quote like this about setting out in a sailing boat on the Mediterranean 3,000 years ago? Bright-eyed Athena sent them a stiff following wind, rippling out of the west, ruffling over the wine-dark sea. Or this one, about two heroes starting a new day. When young Dawn with her rose-red fingers shone once more, royal Alcinous, hallowed island king, rose from bed, and great Odysseus, raider of cities, rose too. There's purple wine brimming in golden cups. A blind bard who sits by a rugged stone column in a banqueting hall takes his guitar from the boy, then sings until the tears run down everyone's cheeks. There are battle scenes, Hector's flashing helmet, the dust in whirlwinds driven up from the plain, hoofs of stallions rumbling thunder. There are the heroes, each one looking like a god, who give their all for their friends. But there's more. Homer is not simply entertainment. Where Percy Jackson is a fun American Harry Potter for adolescents learning about Greek mythology, Homer's heroes really make me think. The ancients always thought Homer had a superior mind, and do you know what? I do too. We in the 21st century are clever with technology. Elon Musk is definitely superior there. I know a bit about it. I was a geophysicist in the mining industry for years. But our Western thinking, our values, our imagination, I would even say our humanity, fall behind those of the best of the ancients. I read Homer and I feel a sense of awe at this towering creative spirit. Nietzsche read Homer and wrote about his Greek cheerfulness. The 1950s German philosopher Ernst Bloch wrote in his famous book about hope that a first humanity did dawn in Homer. It escaped from the animal gods, the Egyptian stone gods, the Babylonian star gods. Homer's undeniable illumination made the gods of Greece tend toward joy. We who are anxious can learn from this fearless joy, this cheerful looking life in the face like a hero. And there's even more. Homer in this vlog stands for a whole world of ancient Greek serious culture, which I find so inspiring. It starts with Homer, then it goes on to many others, philosophers like Plato, people who wrote plays like Euripides, poet-scientists like Lucretius. 150 years ago, everyone learned Homer at school. Since then, less and less. Maybe we were more fascinated with our own scientific ingenuity. But look at this graph of the number of times books around the world mention ancient Greece over the years. It's growing again. Maybe there are more people like me, not experts, I'm no expert, not keen to return to Greek wars and slavery, but somehow attracted because they dared to ask questions even we are afraid to ask today. And the Greeks were cheerful about it. The ecologist William Ophuls says in one of his books that our problems are not technical. They cannot be solved by technology. They are philosophical. Our values are bankrupt. We've been set on the wrong course by adopting a philosophy of greed in the 17th century. Thomas Hobbes said the central problem was protecting our property from the greed of others. Any civilization based only on fear and greed is bound to collapse, Ophuls wrote. Our own civilization, he went on, is on a collision course with the laws of nature. The earth is simply too small to sustain our greed. Whether we like it or not, we'll have to learn how to live in a scaled-down civilization without most of the stuff we take for granted. In the materially simpler world we are heading for, not bling will make us happy, but good ideas taken with cheerfulness. Albert Einstein is supposed to have said, "No problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it." In the end, ideas might be the only thing that does matter. The economist John Maynard Keynes once said, "The world is ruled by little else." My 10 minutes are up. The take-home point, it's a big one. We need a new civilization since the old one caused the Earth's climate to break down. Where better to start than with Homer and the ancient Greeks? Next time, the philosopher versus the shock jock.